Thank you all for coming out this evening on this beautiful, beautiful spring morning or spring evening. As always, we want to thank the City of Wilder for allowing us to use the facility tonight. We're going to run through a short little business meeting and then we'll turn it over to Elaine. So we're going to start out with Richard with the minutes from last month.
On March 12th, we met here in Wilder for a presentation by Jan Lester on lineage societies. Steve had opened the meeting at 7:01. I then read the minutes from the previous meeting. Then Elsner reported an ending balance of $15,076.29 in the account. I read the previous month's donations. Jan Lester announced we have 266 members so far. There's still some left to renew, but if anybody hasn't renewed, please do so. The next newsletter will be the May issue at the end of April, and she's already said it's going to be very full, so it's going to be packed with information. She announced that the National Genealogical Society is going to have an annual conference in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Dayton Heritage Museum was offering a workshop, a writing workshop series. The Rebecca Boo Bryan chapter of the DAR was going to have a grave marking ceremony on March 28th at Highland Cemetery. And then Shirley reported on the essay contest that the contest had ended and just ready for them to be judged. In our veterans report, Shirley reported 90 more had been found in February, bringing the total to 16,911. Steve announced that another group from St. Mary's had visited the office. 6 other ladies came to tour our facility. He also had scheduled a next meeting for the History Sleuths program. On June 4th in Newport, there's a Monmouth Street history crawl starting at 4:30. There'll be a raffle, but several buildings will be open and people trying to discuss the history or giving you information. He also announced the Society America 250 project will be a touchscreen and a cabinet showing stories of all the Campbell County communities. And at that time, he turned it over to Jan for the...
We opened this up with $15,076.29. Had 3 membership renewals for $45, $915 in donations, $250 in the essay contest donations, $273 in publication sales, Kroger's rewards. We netted $86.26. Internet technology sponsor renewed $50, collected $4.22 in sales tax. So our net income for the month was $1,624.68. We spent $11 for dividers for the accounting binder. We paid $221.97 for the copier lease for the first month, and paid a $15 Secretary of State filing fee. So expenses were $247.93 for an ending balance of $16,453.04.
Thanks, Glenn. Richard, you can come back up again and run through all the gifts and donations we've received this month.
Amy Elsner Robinson, Glynn's daughter, donated us a flash drive. It's of St. Joseph Cemetery pictures and GPS grave coordinates. It's a couple years of work she did on it. It's a remarkable piece of information that will help us with St. Joseph Cemetery. Dave Wills gave us an old beer can from Cook's Beer in Newport. Sharon Shoemaker donated 2 containers of Pingui Salve. She also donated a short story by Louis Sutherland. Jill Fessler gave us a Campbell County High School yearbook and class photo from 1948. She also donated a school picture from Cold Spring, grades first and second grades of 1936. Mindy Connell donated 48 ribbons, first, second, third place ribbons from the Alexandria Fair. And Boone County Public Library had a copy of Campbell County high school yearbook, 1967. They turned that in. Also, our volunteer Michelle Kitty did a lot of work acquiring more yearbooks. We got about 20 yearbooks from Silver Grove and 20 or so from New Calf, so our yearbook collection is...
Okay, currently our membership is at $269. If you're visiting us tonight as a guest, our members' yearly dues is only $15 a year. Couples can join for $25, and we have life memberships for $150. So please think about joining us if you're not already a member. And if you are a member and you haven't paid your dues, you can do that too. The newsletter, as Richard said, is going to be a full newsletter. It'll have some winning essays in it from our essay contest. And a lot of other people have been sending me things to put in the newsletter. I have this problem, but it's a good problem. I have too much, and that is really good. I won't lose anything. I'll just hold it over till the next issue if I can't get things in for this one. So it'll be packed full of good stuff, and it'll be out at the end of April if all goes well. We have a new copy machine that I think kind of likes me. Charlene says it likes her. I think it likes me so far. I haven't taxed it too much though. When I run that newsletter, it's going. So we'll see how that goes. Communications, we're just working on answering people's questions about local history or their genealogy questions. We did help the Kenton County chapter of the GAR with that monument at the Highland Cemetery. Back when Campbell County was first laid out, it included Kenton County. And many Civil War, or American Revolutionary War patriots came to this area, and they were in what was then Campbell County. But many of them were on the other side of the Licking River, which is now Kenton County. So that group was trying to find the ones who were members, who were living there, but we had the information, because at the time it was Campbell County. So we sent them a lot of stuff that helped them to get the DAR approval for this marker, and it's really beautiful. I went to the unveiling ceremony, so it was pretty nice.
Okay. Thanks, Jan. Charlene, you want to do Veterans Report?
Let me mention the essay contest. The 10 top choices have been sent to the NKU judges, and we hear back from them, and I don't know who's going to win, then I will send it to Jan so she can put it in the newsletter. So that's about all that report is. Now, for the veterans, for March, a little bit different this month. As you know, Marcia and Patty are researching the Grandview Cemetery. So there were 15 veterans found from last month. Marcia goes through current obituaries and pulls veterans who died and puts them in our collection. That's an ongoing process. But the real big winner this for the month of March, if I don't embarrass Glenn and Kathy, I have a tendency to do that. Their daughter, April Robinson, researched the St. Joseph Cemetery in Cold Spring, and we had 2 packets that thick of all the veterans. Some we had, but with additional information, but she found 47 veterans in that cemetery that we did not have in our collection. So that brought the total for the month to 110, and the running total is now over 17,021. Wow. That's great.
I thought that was pretty amazing that they found 17,000 veterans in Campbell County. Couple of old businesses. We did have our History Sleuth meeting last Saturday. or 2 Saturdays ago. We had about 14 people there that are interested in researching old houses. And so we went through a training process of how to go about doing that. And we'll see what they come up with. We did go to we attended the Patriot Monument and the recognition over in Erlanger. There were 5 of us there, I think. And very, very nice. Very, very nice ceremony. Richard talked about this Monmouth Street history crawl. I think this is going to be quite an event. We've got 15 different buildings on Monmouth Street in Newport that have agreed to be a part of this. And so we split it all, the committee split that all up, and we're all doing research on those buildings. So that history will be available in postcard or poster form on June the 4th at Monmouth Street. There'll be registration at the Carnegie Center down on 5th Street or 4th Street. And then you can go up all the way down Monmouth Street, and the raffle will then be at 927 Reserve down in the 900 block. So there's about 15 different businesses that are on that though, and it should be a really nice event. We are researching Southgate's House Revival, which is the old Grace Methodist Church, 833 Monmouth, which is Mannequin Boutique, and 843 Monmouth, which is Gourmet Chili. So there's stories behind all 3 of those. So I invite you to come to that. You'll hear about it more next month when we know a little bit more. Got some sad news. I want to pass along the passing of Susan Braun-Drock. And I just saw John came in. John, our condolences to you, okay? They were quite a couple. They met each other late in life, but you could just see when they were together that there was something special with the 2 of them. So very, very sad to hear of Susan's passing. We did have another group. Is anybody here from St. Mary's in Alexandria? A couple of you? Okay. I don't want to say this too loud then, but these ladies that came in, they were so interested in what we had, but they were like, what do they call it, corralling cats or something? They were just all over the place. They didn't listen to a word you said. They wanted to talk about everything.
Yes, that along.
You're going to tell them. You're going to tell them. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Janet. Appreciate it. But they were a joy to have. They really were. And again, if anybody else has a group that you're interested in bringing up there, just let us know and we can make arrangements. Okay? In fact, later on, we got a call from the Campbell County Library. Sorry. They're doing Hidden Gems tour sometime this fall, and they'll be bringing a group of about 20 through there. And I don't know, they got the word that we can do tours up there, and so they arranged for this. Keep an eye out. Does anybody else watch Barringer Crawford's website for their curators chat? They just interviewed me for the curators chat. It's not on there yet, but that'll be showing up at some point in time. Also coming up this month, April 25th, is Restoration Weekend in Newport. We did that 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was. They get a good crowd over there, and there's a lot of good information that comes out of that. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, it ends about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's well worth attending, especially if you're interested in redoing a house or just learning about your house. You can find out a lot about it. By the way, if anybody's interested in volunteering and helping to man a table at sometime that day, that would be great. All right, that's all I have on the list so far. With that, I think many of you probably already know Elaine, who manages the genealogy department over at Kenton County Library. But, you know, she was saying, and I say this about our place too, you've been doing it for so many years, and yet every day you find something new over there. They do things over there that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. So that's why I asked Elaine to come and tell us about the services and the resources that they have over there. So with that, I'm going to shut up and turn it over to Elaine.
Always say that.
No, you can't.
He's like, well, here's the flyer for your program, and I'm like, what program? I had agreed to do this the week that I had the flu, and that afternoon after I said to him, sure, I'll do a program, I went home and went to the doctor and all that business and got medicine and never wrote it down. So thankfully, you know, Steve's like, are you ready? Sure. So anyway, and it's so nice to see some faces I haven't seen in a long time. You know, Joe I see all the time. Don't some of you, and I knew we had close brushes with the great maker, and glad you got to stay. And so yes, I'm glad you all came. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to be in the way. Okay, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about some of the things we have in our collection. I am grateful every day to go in there and work in that department. So much groundwork was laid before I even got there, thanks to our executive director, Dave Schroeder, which, by the way, if you haven't heard, he's retiring. He's younger than me and he's retiring, but good for him. So it'd be interesting to see who they bring in. They're doing a national search, so it'll be interesting. But we are constantly getting donations, we purchase things, and I have a most excellent team. And I learn from them all the time too. And the older I get, the more stuff I relearn because I've forgotten something. I'm like, did I know that before? I'm sure I did. So do you all know where our department is? Have you been there? How many of you have been there? Good. For those of you who have not been there, we are located in the Covington branch of the Kenton County Library at 502 Scott Street. We are on the top floor of the building. It's funny because that's where the children's department used to be a long time ago. And I kid you not when I say we still have parents come in and look around and go, where's the children's department? Because that's what they remember. It's actually in the lower level. But anyway, we're on the top floor. For the moment, until the foreseeable future, we have free parking in our parking lot just to the south of our building. It does tend to fill up on certain days of the week. I don't know why. It's just, some of it's just programs. People come in for the programs. And we just finished tax day. You know, we had tax people come in to help. But there's also a parking garage right across the way if there's no spots. So anyway, and we have different hours, and a lot of this information is on the purple booklet that you got. With the hours, how to get a hold of us, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that's in it as well. Just in the past, I would say a couple of 3 years, we have been very fortunate to receive some really substantial donations, mostly of books. We tend to collect for all over the Commonwealth. And also, I put Southern Ohio on there, but that includes, of course, Cincinnati and all the way over to Ashland, okay? We also collect for Southeast Indiana. Makes sense, doesn't it? And then we do, not terribly actively, but somewhat actively collect for what we call the migrating states, migratory states. Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, and so forth. And it's interesting how many people actually came out of New England. And why was that, do you think? It's a trick question. It's Kenton County history. Because of the Baptist Theological Institute, the Western Baptist Theological Institute, that was formed here in the 1830s, I believe, or yeah. A lot of them came out here for that. And some of them maintain ties with family from out that way. But we have received donations. One outstanding collection we received was from Dr. Paul Tenkati. Do you know who he is? He's a history professor and a very prolific author. Well, he downsized a few years ago, and we were fortunate enough to get his library collection, and it's substantial. It's very, very strong in church histories. So, and I mean all over the United States, not just Kentucky or Ohio or Pennsylvania. And so, if you're looking in a really weird spot, by all means check our catalog, because we may have a church history from there. We also received a collection of German resources. They're outstanding, but they're also in German. So you may need to bring a dictionary with you. And then we've also received a couple of collections of things from lifetime genealogists. You know, they collected family histories, family newsletters, various things like that. And if it applies and it's in decent shape, we'll put it in the collection. So we've been very lucky about that. And then recently, we've been doing some digitization projects. The biggest one that we just got the last couple of weeks ago, and I'm very jazzed about this because I'm on the board of Linden Grove Cemetery in Covington. NKU's archives is going to be closed down for a while because they're getting a new HVAC system. And they also have a new archivist and a new dean of libraries who believe in 21st century technology. But they don't have the staff or equipment to do what they want. So they have let us borrow all the records they have pertaining to Linden Grove Cemetery. And we are scanning them and indexing them. And they will go, we already have one database that we've had for a long time. We are going to add all that in there and give them a digital copy so they can put it on their website. It's really cool. The one thing about Linden Grove Cemetery, for those of you who have been working on collecting information about your cemeteries here in Campbell County, as hard as everybody tries, sometimes people fall through the literal cracks and they don't get recorded, or maybe they never got a stone, or whoever was burying them didn't know everything about them. And Linden Grove suffers from this greatly. We've got twice as many people as we have headstones in that cemetery. And recently we had a fairly good-sized ground penetrating radar project done, and they put flags all over it. About broke my heart. Because there's all these people, they could tell where there were burials and they have no markers. Probably not in this lifetime, but if I'm lucky enough to come back, I'm going to work on that as much as I can to try to figure some of that out. But, and I'll talk about a couple other projects here in a minute. This is our reference collection in our department back when it was new and fresh and tidy and clean. It looks a little different. Not too much, but it's still clean. But you can see in the back of the picture, those empty shelves, they're not empty anymore. We've grown into it. We have a substantial collection of city directories for this side of the river. We have a few from Cincinnati, not like they have over there, but we do have some, and we do have a few city directories for Louisville and Lexington, and those were donations. So, and I'm amazed that a city directory still gets published for Cincinnati. You know, it's 3 volumes. And considering how many people don't have home phones anymore, they all carry cell phones. But because those city directors also have employment information, how, if they own a house, if they rent, you know, whatever adults live there, it's still really good information. This is just, I know you can't read them, but that's part of our family history books, our book collection. We will rely on the generosity of donors. We don't actively buy family histories. And it is amazing, especially now because you can almost self-publish, can't you? you can take your work any place, and there's even businesses that will do that for you, and even bind the family histories for you. They look really nice. So we will add them to our collection, and it's not necessarily always related to Kentucky. It's just what somebody had, and I thought, well, it's not fair to get rid of this, because sooner or later, somebody's gonna say, hey, you have a family history on my family. I'll keel over dead if anybody ever brings me one with my last name. It won't happen. I'm the only one working on it, but you never know. And we also have things such as, again, I know it's small, geographical dictionaries. So if you're looking for a small town in Ireland, or, you know, we have dictionaries for various Western European countries. And of course, we have gazetteers on this side. We have the Index to the Myers-Orts, which was the older German collection of towns and such. It's been a long time since I played with that, and I think it's actually online now, which, thank goodness. We also, even though they're dwindling because they're becoming e-publications, and this is actually an older picture because the tracers, I don't think, published in paper anymore, from Hamilton County. But we do have a substantial collection of journals and newsletters from Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. I think we have a couple from West Virginia, but not, I don't know if they're active anymore. And I will say, because Kenton County's group, Steve and I were talking about this, it's getting harder and harder for historical societies and genealogical societies to maintain themselves, because people don't join groups like they used to. Or they join online, and they might live in San Diego. And trying to get them to be active in your group is difficult sometimes. So it is sad when a society closes, but you know, they did their best. So anyway, we do have those there as well. And we still have our microfilm collection, and it still gets used. This is actually a picture of our church records on microfilm. We were fortunate enough, because Dave Schroeder, our director, in between gigs as a library shelver and being a librarian, he was the archivist for the Covington Catholic Diocese. So he knew where to look, and he got all the approvals and got permission to get those things filmed. We're probably about the only ones that have them. They're not online yet. I know that some of you all, maybe in past days, have come over and transcribed church records from Campbell County, because you can hear them over there muttering to themselves, I can't see what this is. This handwriting's awful. What does this say? So whenever I see them on the Gen website, it warms my heart. Some of these priests, not only did they have terrible handwriting, but they were writing Latin, and they were German, right? So you get that old German style trying to do Latin, and it's just amazing. But we have both Catholic and some Protestant records on microfilm. So that's worth a trip to come over and see us if you want to work on those for a while. So this is what our part of the library's website looks like, History and Genealogy. You can get to it, the address is on that booklet again. It's pretty easy. It will tell you our hours. Our hours are a little different than the Covington branch. The only evening we're open until 9 is on Thursday. Okay? The rest of the time we close at 5. So, but we are open on Saturday and Sunday, just like the rest of the branch. That happened during COVID, and it's kind of stopped. And plus the fact that I would have 2 people there till 9 o'clock and no patrons for 2 hours, you know what I mean? So we're trying to be budget smart as well. But when you go there, along the left, in the blue ribbon, are all different types of topics about getting started, how to get started, planning a visit, and then some of our various databases and collections. And then some, what they call FAQs, frequently asked questions, like, how do I get started? What are your hours? Where are you located? And can you help? Oh, and by the way, how many of you have Kenton County Library cards? It's heartwarming. Yay! for those of you who don't, you're gonna wanna get one because almost all of our databases online you can access with your library card. There are only two that you have to actually go to the library to use. Ancestry.com is one of them. And the other one is Find My Past. And does anybody know what's so cool about Find My Past? It's actually a British organization, but they worked with the Cincinnati Archdiocese to digitize their church records and put them up on Find My Past. And you better believe I was right there knocking on we actually call her our internet virtual librarian. We got to sign up for this. And I'm so glad we do. And the handwriting's awful in there as well. So you can't win. One of the things also that we've kind of ramped up, sorry about that, is we have scanning equipment for people to use. We have a flatbed scanner for the public. It'll do up to 8.5 by 14, and you can save things to a flash drive. But the cool toy that we just got in the last year is our, they call it a fast photo. It's high speed, whatever you want to call that, photo and document scanner. And it is really cool. You have to put like a pack of photos in it. They have to be the same size when you do it. It'll do both the front and the back of the picture. So if you've written something on the back of the photo, it'll scan it. And it goes, ka-choo, ka-choo, ka-choo. And when it gets done, it puts it in a folder and then you put it on the flash drive. I'm going to ask Santa for one this year. It's really cool. And then we also have 3, maybe 4. One of them's on its way out. Wolverine digital converters. They do slides and negatives. And we've had some couples come in and do their entire family collection of slides and stuff. And when I say 3, maybe 4 of them, because we had to buy a new one because they actually wore the buttons out on the front of it. But they're really easy to use. There is a bit of a learning curve, but we can help you get started on it. And I do recommend if people want to come in and use it for like an hour or so, to call ahead and we'll put it aside for you and make sure that you have access to it. Same goes with the rapid fast photo, because it sits on one of our microphone computers. And as far as that goes, we have 2, I want to call them old-fashioned, but when I think of old-fashioned microphone readers, I think of the kind that you crank. Remember those? But no, we still have 2 that are motorized, but they're well over 30 years old. And we're going to keep using them until we can't get toner for them anymore. The last time we had to order toner, it cost us $900. So we decided whichever one runs out of toner first, fine, and then we'll go from there. And there are still people who like to use those because they're pretty simple. But we also have 3 digital microphone readers that also do fiche, and they make incredible scans, I will say that. So, and once you get the hang of it, it's like, oh, look at how much better this newspaper looks. So, we do have those available as well. When you go to our website and you scroll down the page, you will also see that we have our faces and places. We're always looking for photograph donations. We'll happily take whatever. And we're patiently waiting for Mr. Batterstone to bring us over the first group of photos. No pressure.
No, not at all.
I can't wait. We're going to make a PR splash about it, so it'll be amazing. You wait and see. And then also we'll tell you over there on the right about upcoming events, which the other flyer you got talks about the things we got coming up this spring. And then this is just kind of a screenshot of part of our newspaper collection. We've worked really hard to increase our access to digital newspapers. And so we have the Inquirer, but we also have the Chicago Defender and the Black Newspaper Historical Collection. And you ask, why do we have that? Especially the Chicago Defender. Well, the Chicago Defender, when it first started, it's a national newspaper, okay? So it picks up all kinds of news. But they also pick up all the little society news from all these tiny little towns in Kentucky, that some of them aren't even there anymore. But Mr. and Mrs. Sam Jones motored to Cincinnati on Sunday to have lunch with his Aunt Matilda. I mean, you know, the regular kind of society stuff, but they're all African Americans. And that's important stuff. So, but we also now have newspapers.com, and we got the worldwide edition, and I consider us to be spoiled because of that. And we just recently got back newspaperarchive.com. They were struck with ransomware, and they've been offline since February, and they just came back online this last week. I don't know how they settled it, but they had to take everything down and basically rebuild their database. But it's an excellent collection of papers, and sometimes it picks up news from Cincinnati that we don't get in the other newspaper databases. And then we have our homegrown, we call them newspaper indexes. We used to have volunteers index the Kentucky Post and a couple other papers, especially the old ones. And so you can go in there and search whatever. And for, like I said, the older papers, you can actually see them online. They're only usually about 4 pages long. It's really cool. But all of our volunteers went away during COVID, you know. We closed down like everybody else, and then a lot of them were like, I'm not coming back. Okay, I understand. And then we also have, our Faces and Places photograph database. This is another one of those fun things. You don't have to have a card to use it. And we get requests for reproductions from all over the place, and I'm not kidding. I got a request from Australia one time. Excuse me. It's keyword searchable, so you can put in a last name, you can put in a school. I put in Newport, and of course I got umpty 9 hits. A lot of the black and white photographs you see came from the Kentucky Post. We were lucky enough to get their photograph archive before they ceased publication. A lot of people have never gotten over that. I don't blame them, it was a good paper. I'd only been here 6 months, and all I heard was Kentucky Post, Kentucky Post. Now I know why, it was a good paper. But anyway, but you can see along the right, it has subject headings. That was started way back in the day when they started this database. It, for the most part, runs from the late 1800s up to about 1962, with some gaps during the World War years. And again, it was volunteer created, so they've gone away. But now a lot of the stuff is digital, so we're getting there. But I want to show you some of my favorites. This one came to us in a donation of the Newport Bicentennial Collection, and it's from 1950. And every photo we put in there, we add as much information as we can about that photo if we know. And this is the 1950 Newport Celtic baseball team. And whoever provided this didn't know everybody, but one of the nice things about our collections, the photos, is you can blow these babies up, and actually you can make it bigger than that. You can really get and say, who is that?
Father Hagen.
You recognize people?
Yeah, Father Hagen.
Oh,
Coach.
okay, so this is one of my favorite photos. It looks like not much. Oh, well, it's where the Licking and the Ohio meet. Okay, fine. It was done around 1865. I'm betting it was more like 1866 going into 67. It was taken from the Roman Bridge as it was being constructed. But the reason that we've been able to narrow down the years, and I didn't include it in this set of photos, but if you blow it way up and look towards the back, towards south of in Covington, you see the Carneal House. Do y'all know where that is?
Yeah.
Sort of? Okay. the house that's right across from it, only the basement had been dug. So we know, you know, and then the Graziani house sits across from it, and it's an empty field. So, it's really cool. And some of the houses along the front there, they're still there. They're still standing. Well, what I wanted to show you is we were talking about blowing things up. Okay, so here you can see the barracks over there. See? Over there. And then look at all that empty field in the back. Okay? And so I zoomed in on that. And now, some of you might be able to identify if any of these buildings, this is the very end of the barracks right here. And then I don't know if that's, it almost looks like a church or a school over there by the hill. But look at all these, and that's in the 1860s. And that's how much Newport had developed. It's really cool. One of my favorite pictures. I love going down rabbit holes about old, and believe me, my department is loaded with rabbit holes. Yep.
In the background before the trees,
Uh-huh.
what is that? Almost looks like an embankment, or is that a road? Or?
It's going up and curves to the right. I think it's a road. I don't know Campbell County that well, so. And when you, well, this pie doesn't mean much either. This little thing right here, that used to be on the top of the Mimosa House, which is still standing. The chairman of the board of Procter & Gamble lives there with his wife, and they've restored it. And they've done about as much research as they can, but the front of the house used to have pillars and then they'd come down, or vice versa. I found it. Remember me, Lisa. I'm the one that found the picture before they did it. So, anyway, I just thought that was really cool. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more then about our other collections. This is Gen Keep. I know I've teased you guys about this in the past, about your museum and collection being the best kept secret in northern Kentucky, which it is. It's a gold mine of information. That's sometimes how I feel about our documents database. And we're constantly adding things to it. Right now, I think there's, I don't know if we've hit 350,000 entries or not, but we're constantly adding things. And like I said, we've been getting donations and stuff and we're putting them in there. And on this one, you can see we've got cemetery records. We had a gentleman, this is what I hate about this. His name just went right out of my head. Gave us a bunch of information about Persimmon Grove Cemetery. And like I mentioned, Linden Grove. See, we already have 43,000 records in there. And it'll double by the time we get done with that other project. And then over there you see we have records from the Children's Home of Northern Kentucky. The Family File Index, you can go in and see if we've got any files. But a lot of times we'll have like letters people wrote to the library, I'm looking for so-and-so. Sometimes there'll be a lot, it just varies. And where you see that it has that little red square, that means that there are PDFs from Adobe Acrobat records so you can look at them. What I wanted to point out to you, a couple things. Campbell County Association of Regular Baptists. These things go back into the 1830s. I don't think that they're on your GenWeb page. I don't think I've seen them there. We also, like I said, we have things from the Newport Bicentennial Collection. And then also a donation that I'll show you in a minute. Yeah. This is a page from the minutes of the 10th annual meeting of the Campbell County Association of Regular Baptists from 1836. And it talks about the churches, Licking, 4 Mile, Banquet, Wellington. Brush Creek, 12 Mile, Alexandria, and Flag Spring. And then their messengers' names. And they're full of really good information, because a lot of times I'll talk about members who have died or members who have joined and different things like that. And you can look at all of this stuff on our Genealogy website for free. You don't have to have a card. Okay, I know this is hard to read, but one of the latest projects we've been doing are from the Lindemann family, Lindemann Funeral Homes. They're allowing us to digitize some of their older records. They're really cool. And again, the handwriting is, you know, in some cases, but if you're trying to find someone and you can't find more than they died, this might be a way to go look. And what's the latest there, 1947? I think they might go just a little bit farther than that, and then they're gonna stop. We tried to match it up with when death records are released in Kentucky, and that's a 50-year rule, so we'll see. But they're really cool. And then this one, anybody remember the name Ralph Mussman?
Oh, yeah.
His daughter donated his papers to us it's been over 10 years ago. And it's a conglomeration of things. It's almost like one big fat scrapbook of things that one of our staff went through and scanned and indexed. This is the description. It talks about him in his young life, and from school he served in the military, and then he served in various roles for the city of Newport and retired in the 1980s. Yeah, it was his daughter Edwina Unrath gave it to us in 2014. So, and by the way, when we do get things like that, we do have an archive room. It's temperature and humidity controlled. And it's really nice to go in there and cheat when it's hot out. Oh, I gotta go get a yearbook. Where's Elaine? Oh, she's getting a yearbook. Right. Okay. Now, and then what else I wanted to tell you about, this is something that came out of COVID as well. We tried to do this before that. People are like, oh, we don't want to bother you. No, we get paid to be bothered. We offer one-on-one research assistance. You can make an appointment, although we do take walk-ins, but it gets kind of dodgy sometimes. If you call ahead and tell us when you're coming, tell us what it is you're working on, we might be able to do a little prep work before you get there. Our goal is to help you find answers and become better researchers, okay? Don't go in there and, oh, well, you can do it for me. We might one time and that's it. No, we want you to learn how to use the tools, because that's what they are, they're just tools. But it's always good to put one or two heads together, isn't it? And believe me, that's what I love about our staff right now, because we all have our different interests. And so if I'm stuck, I'll go after them and, hey, do you know anything about this? Recently, we had somebody ask about the Lambs Ferry out in southern Kenton County, because they bought the house that was on that property. And we weren't having a whole lot of luck, although we think it was developed when the train went out that way. And then my colleague Bobby looked at a Campbell County atlas from around 18 out on the wood. And sure enough, there was a road that went right straight over to the river, and right across it said Lambs Ferry. Yay! So the person who asked the question was very happy. So you can call us or you can email the department to make an appointment. And it doesn't matter if you're just getting started, we're happy to help. Or if you're absolutely stuck on something. Everybody eventually hits a brick wall, don't they? We welcome history questions, house questions, ghost questions, crime questions. Yeah, we're public libraries. So anyway, we will also do appointments by phone or virtually, like on Zoom, if you absolutely can't come in. Because we do have people call or connect with us from out of state, because they had people live here and then moved somewhere, west or wherever. So we've done that before too. And all of this because of COVID. But they have gotten quite popular. And I'm thankful for that, because that word spreads, you know, hey, go to the library. They help me find ABC or whatever. And not so much, they're a bunch of idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. We get that sometimes, but not as often as you think. But anyway, so if that's something that sounds good to you, we're happy to help, you know. I still think people are of that, they don't want to bother you, but you know, please bother us, right? Because like I said, we love going down rabbit holes. So, this is just a picture of my colleague Sierra helping someone with a one-on-one. And it is amazing, really. I mean, yeah, you know, the stereotype, well, my family was German, my family was Irish. And those are usually the ones that are like, I'm going to Ireland in 2 weeks. I was wondering if you could help with my family history. See, Jan laughs because she knows. 2 weeks? Oh, okay, no problem. But, yeah. Yeah, let me go get the blue book in the back. I used to work at the Allen County Library in Fort Wayne, and before they went through renovation, most of their collection was closed stack. You wouldn't believe how many times we were accused of hiding things. You had that red book the last time I was here. I know. Well, let me go check the red book section. No, we didn't do that. But yeah, when they went open stack, life got much easier. But yeah, we do what we can. So, does anybody have any questions? I'm going to put up my last slide here, and it has contact information of our department, our email, the library's general website address, and we now have 4 branches. We have Covington, Erlanger, Independence, and Latonia. If you haven't been to the Latonia branch, it's very nice. And you know, you can go to those branches. If it's easier for you to go to those branches, like use a computer ancestry or whatever, you may not get as much help. You know what I mean? There's staff that may be able to help a little bit, but if you want more specialized work, that's what we get paid to do. So, yes.
Elaine, you mentioned the newspapers.com. Can we get to that with a card from home?
She asked if you can get to newspapers.com with your library card from home. The answer is yes. The only 2 that you have to be in the branch, Ancestry and Find My Past. All the others, you can use your library card. And I double checked on Newspaper Archive and it did work. So, and newspapers.com, like I said, it's the international or the national collection, so it's really nice. Especially if you're researching a small town in South Dakota or someplace like that. So, all the more reason to go get a library card, right? Yes, sir.
I've been on I was on Ancestry. I've probably got a family tree that's somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 people on Ancestry. I'm also on Family Search. I get emails all the time from Family Search about famous relatives. Like, according to Family Search, I'm related to Abe Lincoln, George Washington, Ben Franklin. I'm related to 35 different people in history.
Take a good look at it. I had the same thing and I found out most of it was wrong.
Most of it's wrong?
I had the same thing and found out most of it was wrong. I started tracing back how we were connected.
I'm sorry to say, Family Search research is a little dicey.
Is it?
The one thing that really drives me nuts about Family Search, family trees, anybody can get in there and edit it.
Right.
Makes me insane. I'm like, I knew my grandma. I know where her dad was.
I've run
Stop changing it.
And I run into a situation where supposedly they have a famous relative, they put a picture in there, and you go, I've seen that picture in a museum, that's not who that is. And I sent it to the person that put it in there, and they just kind of laugh and go, oh, you know, we're just kidding.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
I will say though, I mean, I love Family Search, and I'm so thankful they've been able to digitize all of their microfilm, even though it's not all indexed, it's worth it. But I did stop adding to my tree on Family Search just because of that. But Ancestry, I had way more luck. A couple reasons. I finally broke down and did the DNA test, even though I think it's wrong, but that's just me. But there's been other people research like my grandma's family, and I scored photographs, man. I was so over the moon. And I just gotta work up the nerve to reach out to this lady and say, what else you got? I just haven't done it yet, but she has pictures I've never seen.
I've done the DNA stuff, and mine I'm pretty sure is fairly accurate, because I'm from southern Kentucky, my family is. And it's all English, Irish, Scottish, and so that's all I have. I found the first cousin that was given up for adoption and no one knew about. Through the DNA, he contacted me from California, and he's literally my mom's sister's son that she gave up and told no one about. And then like,
He's talking about finding a relative that nobody knew about through DNA, and let me tell you, we've had some people show up in our apartment, this has been a few years now, really upset because they found out they didn't have the same dad.
Yeah.
And the dad was no longer with, he was already gone, you know, so he couldn't explain himself. And it happens. My cousin, my first cousin, was contacted by a guy out in Nebraska. It turns out, and he remembers going somewhere in South Dakota to like a convent with his twin sister and his oldest sister and his mom, and stayed there, and then they came home, but their mom stayed there for a while. Well, she stayed there for a while because she was pregnant. And this guy was the product, and he was adopted as well. And they were able to make fairly good connections, and then he unfortunately passed away. But when you see pictures of this guy's sons, they look just like my cousins. It's insane. And you know, it really does. You know how for the longest time adoptions and single births and all that was so shameful, and it's really unfair, you know. But I've also helped people find a happy ending. I helped another librarian several years ago who was working with a guy, I think he lived in California, trying to prove that he was actually related to some folks in northern Kentucky. Long story, but his mom and dad had terrible things happen and they split up. And the kids got split up. And then she had an affair with someone with a very checkered past. And she was pregnant and had a baby. He took the baby to Illinois to a hospital, dropped it off. And it was in the paper. The nice part was the rest of the kids, even though they didn't live together, they were kept in touch with everyone. And he finally found a descendant of one of those other kids, and sure enough, he was their mom and dad's kid. He did not belong to the shady guy. So he really was a brother. And she said he just was beside himself because he made contact with me. I'm not Joseph talking about that. So anyway, you never know what's going to happen with it.
I've had people.
You also might see if you need to handle some early Campbell County government records as well. Maybe for a while it was a county home. I mean, they might have called it and the church might have been involved, you just don't know. So you get in there and dig around, you know what I mean, for orphanage records. Also, it's amazing. A lot of people lived in orphanages, not so their whole life, but a year or two, because they lost a parent. The other parent wasn't able to take care of them at the time. If their mom survived, most likely she couldn't get work, she had to remarry. If the father survived, he had to marry someone to take care of the kids, and unfortunately, sometimes the new wife didn't want to. It just all depended. I've talked to people who, from childhood until majority, lived at the orphanage on Orphanage Road, and they have very fond memories of it. He came in one day, we were trying to track the information he was able to get from the people who knew him, because he was quite old. And it turns out that the address that they gave as their place of residence was the doctor's office. So these might have been people from who knows where Yes. I mean, he had accepted it, but that's, you run into that sometimes. Well, a lot of people lived in an orphanage just for a little while.
Right.
When times were hard, and then went back to either their mom and dad, or one parent, or grandparents, or whatever. And also remember that for the first part of the 1900s, people weren't officially adopted. They were taken in. Sometimes they kept their own name, sometimes not. So it's all very interesting and challenging, so.
Did you have a question, Mark?
You know, I heard newspaper thing, you can see it again on Ancestry, and you go to the newspaper.com, and you can't find that, what that hit says.
And that's why you can make note of that, whatever you get out of Ancestry, and then log into newspapers.com and go that way.
I tried that, and you still can't find that article there.
Oh, well, call us sometime and we'll run it through and see if we can make it happen. Yeah, I know, they own everything, so I don't know why they don't make it easier. I finally bought them now because I'm a cheap librarian, and got Ancestry and newspapers.com. But now the library's given us a good subscription, so. Anybody else? I don't want to keep you all night.
You mentioned the Catholic Church record. There was a member, who's still a member, but she's moved. Her name was Carol Sandman. And she transcribed all those Catholic Church records from your library. And they're all on our Gen website.
Yes.
Now, it's not the original record, it's a
It's a
transcription.
transcription.
But then if you find that,
Yeah.
then you know right where to go. If you
My
want
dad,
the original
they were
record over at the
basically
library.
sharecroppers
Yeah.
in World War II.
And Carol
They
lives
lived
in
in
London.
East,
Yeah. It's all about learning how to use a tool,
right, that's
right?
right.
So, okay, thank you. It's so good to see you all tonight. Thank you.
Jan has one more thing. Stay tuned.
We are very happy. Last month, I asked you guys about someone taking over our reminder call list. And Sharon Shoemaker has done that for us. Thank you, Sharon. She'll be the chairperson of that committee. We still could use one more person who could make about 10 calls a month to let our members know that the meeting, when it is, who's speaking. Sharon would send you your call list like 3 times a year, and you'll have a list and you just check it off. And a lot of times it's just telling it to the answering machine because people are working or whatever. It doesn't take long at all. So if one more person could just be on the committee, not take charge of it, but just call 10 people or so, let me know. I'll be around.
Yeah, your class.
Okay.
My little brother.
Next month, we are back here again, and we have our essay contest winners coming. And the essay contest this year, many of them have been really, really good. We're still waiting for the response from NKU as to who the winners are in the junior level, but some of them, I was really, really impressed with them. So that should be a good meeting. In June, we are having our annual picnic, and we will be at the Highland Heights City Building. They've got a shelter out behind the city building, and we'll be there. And I just made arrangements the other day in July. Everybody know where Love and Fellowship Church is on York Street? Okay, it's in the 700 block of York Street. Well, Dean and his brother Shane Gosney have purchased that building. They're still allowing the church to use it on Sunday mornings. They charge them $1 a year to use it, but they have converted a whole lot of it, and they use it as an event center. And so I had a conversation with Dean the other day, and he said, I'd love to have you come and view the, tour the place, and we'll give you the history of the building. So that should be a good one in July. I'm looking forward to that. Anybody else have anything for tonight?
History Day, Elaine, tell us about History Day.
it's on that flyer, History Day, Northern Kentucky History Day is Saturday, May 16th, at the Erlanger branch. We're gonna do things a little different this year, we're gonna have 4 speakers instead of 10, or 12, or whatever. It's on the front of the handout, and we're gonna, hand up,
Well, it says at 8 o'clock, how long's that going?
2:30,
Okay.
but they're taking a break for lunch. So, yeah, it's usually a pretty good day, it's a good day to get caught up, find some cool stuff to buy, and hope you all can make it.
Okay.
I missed the Roots Tech thing they did last month. Those videos, you can go to Roots Tech and see
Yes,
those genealogy presentations.
yes, you can.
Or you can look under Roots Tech.
Go to Roots Tech, yeah.
All right. I think we're done with extras here. Thank you all very much. Be safe.